Welcome to Mom Friend Material with Cherie
and Jada.
So today we are talking about, infamously, our favorite topic of all time.
Oh my God, we do not talk about this enough.
We talk about it a lot, but it's never enough. We are talking about travel, and today we've got my very good friend, Mandi Dyer, with us. Mandi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to talk today about planning trips for your family, the benefits of using a travel agent. You travel more than anybody that I know, and so which is appropriate. And so I know that you've got good travel tips. You've given me tons of good travel tips over the year, but I want to kind of start with something fun. I would love to know, what is the best trip or your favorite trip that you've planned for your family, since you book trips all the time for other people. You see, all of these things. So I'm sure it's inspiring for you too. So what's been your family's favorite trip?
So I think for our family, we've got little kids, and so Disney will always have our hearts. We go a couple times a year. I grew up going, my husband grew up going, so that's just really special to share with our kids. But a couple of years ago, we actually took the kids out to Arizona. We went out to Sedona, which was kind of an off the beaten path trip. We weren't really sure what to expect. We saw a couple things we wanted to try, and it ended up being a phenomenal trip. We went to the Grand Canyon. Sedona is a city that is unlike anywhere I've ever been. I've actually recently booked a couple honeymoons out there. And
wow.
Yes, it's a great place for solo travel, which is real big right now. So yeah, Sedona was amazing. Our kids loved it. We loved it. The weather was great. So
that's awesome. I think that's one of those trips you just don't even think to take. Like for me, growing up, we did Disney, mm-hmm. and we did the beach.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah, we did a lot of beach growing up too.
I think the United States, in the center, kind of gets taken for granted how pretty certain things are and the different experiences you can kind of have. But I've seen, in Arizona, they have the train that travels through the different areas. I'm like, that looks so relaxing, as if you were laying on the beach, but just a different version of that.
We actually took a train from Williams, Arizona, which is just north of Flagstaff, over to the Grand Canyon and back, which was really, the landscape up there is just incredible. It's breathtaking. I lived in Denver for about a year, and it's even more incredible than anything I've seen up there. So It was, well worth the trip.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we've obviously, planned plenty of trips together. Mm-hmm. You've given me so many great tips over the years. So let's talk about maybe your top tips for traveling with kids, whether it's to Disney, to the beach, whatnot. What are your go-to, gotta have it, this is what makes my life so much easier when you travel with your kids?
Yeah. So, as you know, our kids are still little too. So we've got them between my kids and my stepkids. They're ranging from adults to babies. So we've kind of I've nailed down a lot of the best ways to travel. So one of my biggest tips is one that I've shared with you. I call it my Ziploc bag trick. So when you're traveling with multiple kids, trying to keep outfits together can be a whole disaster. So I usually take 1 gallon Ziploc bag per child per day. We've got outfit, socks, any bows or accessories that need to go with it. And then I label them so that, in the morning when everyone's getting ready, they know exactly where to go to grab their clothes and get ready. So that's been a huge time-saving travel tip for me. One of the other travel tips that I have is bringing some of the comforts of home. We bring little things, even night lights are great to travel with kids, because if you think about it, when you turn off all the hotel room lights, it's dark in there.
Yeah.
The first thing out of Levi's mouth always is it's really dark.
It's very dark. And although I want to sleep in the pitch black, they do not.
Yeah.
So bringing a nightlight has been a lifesaver for us. I always travel, of course, with snacks. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to get grumpy at some point. And a snack is always the resolution to that. I enjoy when we go places like Disney, we always have groceries delivered to the hotel. Yeah. So we have snacks in the room, we've got drinks in the room, things like that, just to make sure that once, that long park day is done, they still have something to snack on and drink on when they're watching TV before they go to bed.
That's been ordering groceries on vacation. So even when we've gone to the beach or whatnot, it's you go to the grocery store to get stuff, and it's that's 2 hours of your time, because the grocery store and those vacation places, they're insane all the time.
Yes.
And so just ordering groceries, and God, after a Disney day, your feet are done.
Yes.
they're done as you're walking out of the park, and then you still have to get to your hotel.
Absolutely, yeah. Add the Epsom salt to the grocery delivery so you can soak your feet.
Yes, and so just having that, like, a drink or a snack, because you're right. Look, I get hangry at the end of a Disney day, much less my child gets extremely hangry. And
Absolutely, yes, mine too.
Just having that distraction, just to say like, hey, we're gonna go get the chicken fingers in just a minute. Like, here's a bag of these mini muffins or whatever.
Yeah. And we always, my kids, when you're especially somewhere like Disney, when you're on the go the whole time. I brought these to Sedona as well. Our water bottles. My kids have little water bottles. They each have their own. I keep them full, and that way they know, they have at least, that they don't have to. You don't have to hear "I'm thirsty" 500 times.
Yeah.
Because you've got it with you.
So I think what I'm hearing is the secret to a good vacation with kids is planning ahead.
A lot of planning ahead. And I think that's one thing that as a travel agent, I've been very honored to offer my clients is I do have a lot of tips and tricks and things that I send them as we go along in the planning process. Things I recommend you pack, things that we need to look at, kind of like a next step. So once they book, I send them a packet of here's what we need to do next. So that they also don't feel lost, but it also helps them prepare and know what to expect.
Yeah, I remember, I think this was maybe our Disney trip before the last one. We've been to Disney a few years now, and I remember like texting him like, oh my God, it's gonna rain today. Like just being able to have that like sounding board for like those in the moment, like, what do I need to do? Like, it's gonna storm tomorrow. You pay a lot of money for those tickets. There's no refunds.
Yeah.
So we're going.
We've been in the parks with knee-high water. We're we have to get our money's worth out of this day.
And let's go.
Yeah.
Yes, we are definitely that family.
We'll dry those shoes when we get back to the room.
Got the extra shoes and just keep moving.
If I gotta buy, we've had to buy extra shoes in the bar.
Yes.
I usually bring extra shoes. So just being able to like have that like day of sounding board, you're like, it's gonna be okay. Like, here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. You're gonna bring this, pack this. It's gonna be fine. And you know what? Like, I look back on that, and like that is one of the few Disney days that I distinctly remember, because it was like once the rain was over, the park was like empty, and it was fantastic. Like, we were just walking on.
Yeah, you get a couple hours after those rainstorms in Disney where it's empty. Everyone, because a lot of people come from out of state, they don't realize it's just like that flash storm, and then it goes away, and so they leave.
Yep.
And so then you're just left there with, very few people in the park. So it's nice to go on a rainy day.
Yeah.
But I think that you're right. A lot of times when you're traveling and things do go wrong, I mean, flights get delayed, flights get canceled.
Yep.
You show up at the hotel and there's an issue with your room. And so it's nice to have someone that you can just go to. And I do have clients. I had one yesterday that called me. We had a flight issue. And so it's nice as a client to have someone just to go to that can handle that for you and not have to stress through it, especially when you're in the heat of the moment. Like when you're about to walk out the door to go to the park and you're like, it's about to storm.
Yeah.
Because y'all know how it is as a mom. The kids are looking to you for that reassurance that we're still going to have fun.
Well, everybody, Dad's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Dad doesn't
I'm just here to pay for it.
Exactly. My husband, when we go on vacation, he's like, just tell me what I need to wear and what time I need to be ready. And he doesn't care about anything outside of that. He just goes with the flow. So, but yeah, it's definitely nice to have someone to, call and kind of get some last minute advice from.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's been like life-saving, and just, especially, I think every vacation can be elaborate if you're not used to planning. And when I say elaborate, I don't mean like on the spending or whatever. Yeah. It's just so much to plan.
Oh, yeah.
And typically, at least in our, like, Dustin is very go with the flow. He does not care. He's literally like, I'm just going to
tell me where to go.
Like, it's fine.
That is exactly how my husband is.
So it's more, the planning falls on me, and I think you take for granted like the mental capacity that takes. And so to me at this point now, I mean, obviously we've been friends like well before you ever did travel agency, until I finally convinced you to get your travel agent license. But I can't imagine planning a trip like any other way now, because I'm like, I text you, I'm like, okay, my child wants to go on this winter vacation.
Yeah. Where can we go?
Yeah. I've never been on a cold vacation in my life. Like, I don't even know where to start, and it's like just having that person be able to go, let me give you some options. Like, this is going to be the budget friendly option. We could go really elaborate with this option. We can find something in the middle. Like, and I'm a planner, and I feel like I am extremely resourceful, but I could have never pulled together like the things that you were like, okay, what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
Like just giving those ideas that one, it took away the mental
Yes.
capacity part for me that I didn't have to sit there and like, I mean, because how many hours are you really going to search Google?
Oh, you can go down a whole rabbit hole of
Yeah.
where to go.
Like I want to be within 2 seconds
Yes.
of this particular park. What hotels do you
Yeah.
have?
What do I do?
Or this particular venue? Like
Yes.
Well, and I mean, I think when you are planning something that you've never been to before, like you have no idea to even ask those type of questions. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't know where to stay or what needs to be close or what there is to do or,
Yeah.
you know, like where are we going to eat when we get there? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the logistics of it, I think. And
Yeah.
I do a good bit of honeymoons as well.
Mhm.
I'm working on a couple destination weddings, which are super fun. But again, when you are the bride, the logistics of getting 50 people
Yes.
to Jamaica is not easy.
It's not.
And even if it's your honeymoon, like I have clients that call for honeymoons and they're like, we want to go somewhere in the Caribbean. Well, do you know how big the Caribbean is? Like we're going to have to narrow it down.
can we
So,
be
like,
specific?
Yes.
I mean, this is from Mexico to what, Bermuda?
Right, yeah. So in everywhere in between. And so
Yeah.
it's narrowing that down is very helpful for the client, helping
Yeah.
them narrow it down and then just working through the logistics. Like they don't think about things like when I get to the airport, how am I getting to my hotel?
Yeah.
So those are things that I always include whenever I'm helping with a quote or helping, book a trip. Your airport transfers are going to be included. We offer travel protection options just in case. I mean, especially for travel during hurricane season, you just never know.
Yep.
And so being able to have that peace of mind that yes, our trip may be canceled, but we can still travel again
Yeah.
is super helpful. But those are things like you're saying that people just don't think of in the logistics of it.
Mhm.
Or, I mean, you can get in the weeds on that.
For sure.
So you touched on travel insurance.
Yes.
So what are your pros and are there any cons to having travel insurance?
If you end up not having to use it, then you paid for it for no reason. But I guess the pro of that would be you didn't need to use it.
Yeah.
So really it's I mean, I don't see any reason that it's a bad thing. So
Yeah.
typically travel protection, we offer a policy that has a cash rebate. So if you have to cancel your trip, it does refund you for that, for your all-inclusive 100%, even if it's the day before. But we then also have one that does a future travel credit. So
Okay.
it'll give you a credit to use obviously
Mhm.
towards future travel. A lot of the travel protection plans, it's a little different on the flights. So your flights are typically, those are going to be monitored and regulated by the airline. So Southwest is a good one because they don't charge change fees.
Yeah.
So if your trip is canceled for whatever reason, you've got to file your travel protection against the hotel, then you can at least get those monies back. But then Southwest, you can just change your flight to whenever you want to go and just pay the fare difference. Now, there are some airlines when you book, you're booking, American, Delta, they offer non-refundable, non-changeable rates. So
Yeah.
those, you're kind of stuck on those with the airline. And they will let you change most flights. You will pay for that though. So that's a lot of my flights and a lot of my clients. I do recommend Southwest because they are so flexible. So some companies like Disney has their own travel protection. It's very affordable. It's $95 per adult. Kids are free. And so it'll cover any issues that you have on your trip. Travel protection also covers more than just your trip. A lot of it covers medical expense if something were to happen to you while you are out of the country. If you happen to travel at the beginning of COVID and then everything shut down and you couldn't get back in the country, it'll help cover those hotel costs, things like that. So it goes beyond just covering the cost of your actual trip. It'll cover lost baggage. So, people do get sick on vacation.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and if you end up having to go to the hospital or stay longer than you anticipated, you're going to have to change that flight. You're going to have to extend your hotel. So it'll help cover those costs as well.
Well, and especially if you're out of the country, I can
yeah.
imagine that the healthcare price for someone who, I mean, I know a lot of other countries have this universal healthcare, but you probably are not included being a foreign traveler.
No. And some insurance, even private medical insurance, sometimes they don't. I mean, everybody in Mexico is going to be out of network.
Right.
So then you're not really going to hit that either. So it does
Yeah.
help with those expenses. It'll also help with things like I had a client recently that missed a flight. And so what we did on that was they flew Southwest. So Southwest let us change the flight to the next day, no issues. But they had already paid for that first night of their hotel. So we were able to get the resort. They were going to reimburse them the first day, but instead they asked if they wanted to stay an extra night, which they did.
Okay.
So that was helpful. So that way we didn't have to necessarily file it on the travel protection, but it was there in case we needed to.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have had availability, then that's what we would have needed to do.
I booked a travel insurance on like a recent work trip because they booked this like big Airbnb type of thing. And they're like, look, like there is no refunds. Like you just need to get your own travel insurance. So it was so affordable. I'm like,
Mhm.
why would you not book this?
Yeah.
Especially traveling to the beach during hurricane season.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much can happen. Like it, and I just booked a basic, like I was driving, so I didn't need to
Yeah.
cover flights. Like it was really cheap. I mean, I didn't insure it for very much, but I wanted to make sure that I could get my investment back out.
Absolutely.
Because if otherwise you're just completely out of that money. So I
Yeah.
was actually surprised at how affordable.
And a lot of
travel
credit card
insurance is.
companies actually offer travel insurance. If you have paid for whatever trip it is with that credit card, they
Yeah.
will offer a protection plan. You just have to call and ask them.
Yeah.
And like
Okay.
you're saying, it's very affordable.
Yeah.
Especially on something like an Airbnb. Those are, we're super cautious on booking those because of the regulations that are involved
Yeah.
with them. As an owner of an Airbnb, you can cancel that whenever you want.
Yeah.
So that's, something I try to steer away from just because I don't want my client to book something and get excited about it only for the day before them not to have somewhere to stay. And now we're scrounging
Yeah.
for a last minute, hope
Well,
this is good.
You think about when you book a hotel, they've probably got a certain amount of rooms that they keep reserved for when things happen.
Absolutely.
So like, you can just easily slide over to a different room.
Yeah.
And Airbnb, if that is the only house that owner owns, and let's just say the AC goes out. I mean, I've had that happen
Yes.
to clients of mine in the middle of a transaction. It wasn't vacation, but maybe they needed short-term housing and we booked that. And they canceled the day of. They're like, the AC's out.
Yes.
Sorry. Like, and what do you do when you're
They're not going to
scrambling?
send you to another owner's
Right.
Airbnb
No, absolutely
rental.
not. No.
It's just, sorry, we refunded your money. And you're like,
And thanks for my money, but now I don't have anywhere to stay and I'm on my way out of town.
Yeah. Oh, it'll take us
100%.
30 days to refund you your deposit back
Yes,
or something.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like the average family today, like, you probably saved to get
Yeah.
those funds
Yes.
together for that vacation. And so if it does take, let's just even say it takes 10 days, because that's the normal, what it takes to get your money back. By that point, if you don't have a credit card or something to
to rebook
float
on
you those funds, then it's like you're kind of just out of luck.
And pissed.
Very angry.
Yeah.
And I mean, there can't be anything worse than thinking you're going on vacation for
Oh,
like
yeah.
a long period of time, and then all of a sudden you're not the day before.
Oh,
After you packed
yes.
and your kids are ready and they're off of school.
Yes.
And, no, I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
We've talked about so much land options. I've never been on a cruise. Everybody says, oh, you should try one. And I'm like, I don't like large bodies of water.
So neither do I. I don't really like small bodies of water, to be honest with you. I don't
Same.
do boats. I don't want to do it. But cruises are actually fun.
Okay.
What's nice about them is everything's included.
Okay.
So if you do something like a Carnival cruise, they go out of New Orleans, so you're close to home if you live, local.
Yeah.
But they do include everything. So you can add on some excursions, add on an alcohol package if you'd like, but your food's included, your room's included, everything's there, your entertainment's there. They've got pools. If you do a Disney cruise, they have character dining. Disney has a very unique rotational dining. So whenever you check in on the boat, they give you a little card that tells you which restaurant you're eating at for each meal. Your server goes with you.
Okay.
So if every time you sit down, you order a water with 12 lemons, when you go to sit down at the next meal, he knew that you wanted that. And so it's going to be waiting for you.
Oh, wow.
So it's really nice. It's a great little extra, one of those little Disney touches. And they have characters on the boat that you can go and meet. They come to some of the dining. They've got kids clubs, which are separated into age groups, which is nice because you can go drop the kids off.
All
Every last one of them. And then go and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So they've got their own islands that they go to now as well. So you're not, just stuck going to one specific area. You can take a cruise out to one of their islands instead of somewhere that you've been before, which is nice.
That's a good point. We have cruised a lot in our previous child-free life, but now it's like we're kind of Levi's getting older, and I'm like I don't think I'm quite ready to go back to like Carnival because I feel like it's not really geared towards kids. But I forget that Disney has such a great cruising option.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I mean, look, we all are Disney people here. Like we've all been multiple times. Clearly, we love Disney. I just feel like if they're going to do it, they do it so well. There is nothing subpar about Disney.
No,
ever.
they're gonna go all out. Yeah, we're actually going next year. They have a resort in Hawaii, so we're planning on that for next year, which I'm interested to see because they also have a lot of kids stuff there too.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that transferred over. Because it's one thing to keep it in the parks,
right?
It's another to put it, segregated onto a cruise ship, but then to have it on an island, I'm curious to see how
My bucket list is to make it to every Disney park at
and you
some
can
point.
do that for like $250,000. They have
All
a
right.
private jet that will take you to every single one of them.
Anybody need to buy a house? Sell a house? Help me reach my goal.
Let me calculate how many houses I need to
It might be more than one.
It might be more than 12, 100.
I mean, 1 or 2 really, really, really big houses.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So let's talk a little more about benefits of using a travel agent, because I feel like not everybody is familiar. Honestly, before, whenever you were just, planning my vacations and not getting paid for it, I probably never thought to use it because I'm like, oh, it probably costs a lot of money, all of these things. But let's talk about like what does that look like?
So I think that is the biggest thing. A lot of clients that come to me, the first question they ask is, how much do you charge? Mm-hmm. And the answer to that is nothing. There is no hidden fee. There is no extra you owe me when you get home. I do not charge a planning fee, an itinerary fee, nothing. So if you book, an all-inclusive honeymoon, if you book your wedding, if you book Disney, it does not matter. I don't charge anything. We get paid directly from the resorts. So there are agencies out there that do charge planning fees, that do charge deposits, things like that for you to work with their agents. I do not do that. So when you come to me and ask for ideas and, we work up some ideas, once you book and you travel, I get paid directly from the resort. So it doesn't cost my clients anything, which I think is the biggest benefit, honestly.
Yeah.
To have someone else do all the legwork for you. I think another benefit is some of my clients like to be very hands-on. I have people that call and say, here's where we want to go. Here's the restaurants we want to eat at. Help me put this together.
I'm that person. I'm like, this specific hotel, these nights, this level room, all this. Like, I'm like the easiest client. But I do get the benefits to that because kind of how you guys can manage flights is different than how I can go in and book a flight. And the benefits to that.
Yeah. So. Well, and the other thing with that too is I have clients like you that are easy. They send me a list and they say, book me exactly this, which is fine. And then I have some that are like, we want to go to Disney.
Like Sheree.
We want to go. We want to go for a week. We don't know exactly what days. We want to eat at some restaurants. We want to do a character dining. We don't know which one. So I've got one end of the spectrum to the other. I love working with both. Honestly, it's great and it's fun to do like a first trip. Those are always really fun to do and see how excited families get. Easy clients like Jada that are just going to send me a list. I'm like, okay, book, done. Here's your itinerary. Call me if you've got a problem. But I mean, really, both of them are great to work with. So it's fun to do both. But the other benefit too is if you've got even someone like Jada that knows exactly what she wants. Yeah. I know I've done this for you previously. I've booked trips and then, we pay our deposit and we're just waiting for travel and then a promotion comes out. They just released more last week. So when a promotion comes out, anyone that I have traveling in those travel days, I will go ahead and check to see if their booking qualifies for that promotion. If so, I'm going to call, get it applied, and I'm just going to let you know, hey, the price on your trip went down. I have one that I have a family I booked for December, and they're going to be there a good while in a nice resort, and we booked it middle of the summer. And it was a little more than they wanted to spend, but Dad said, let's do it. Let's splurge and do it. Well, then Disney released a promo, and so it actually knocked $1,500 off of their trip. So now he's all for it. But it's nice to have someone in your corner looking out for that.
The day that you texted me and you were like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I adjusted things because there was a promo. Nothing changed except for the price. And I think it ended up saving us about $500 on our particular trip. I would have never known.
Yeah.
I mean, you just think about like being a busy mom and my husband's not looking for the promos. I look at the promos when I book it.
He doesn't even know the hotel.
He don't know. He's just like, what time's the flight until I can figure out what time we need to leave.
And that's like I said, that's how my husband travels too. Like he just knows where we're going and what he needs to wear when we're there. But then I heard him on the phone the other day telling somebody when we went to Sedona that we stayed at a particular hotel, and I said, that is not where we stayed. We ate dinner there. We did not stay there. And he was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think this has been some awesome tips. I think that people can, take at least some of the tactical tips of the Ziploc bag trick. I'm telling you, it will change your life. Like, because look, you might be OCD like me and be like, okay, no. there's a specific outfit for
There
today.
definitely. Oh, there's absolutely a specific outfit.
You know, and then I can hand the bag to my mother-in-law, and now she knows because she typically travels with us. She's like, hey, I grabbed this Ziploc bag for today, and like he's all dressed. Like I'm, you know, before we're even ready. So I think there's some tactical tips that you can take to do this. And if you're looking to book a vacation, Mandi, how can they get in touch with you?
So Facebook Messenger is the easiest. I'm under Mandi Dyer, Mandi Dyer, Dyer. Also, my business is Magical Memories by Mandi. So either of those on Facebook or Instagram. You can also email me, Mandi@wdwgetaways.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to talk
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Of course. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.